when you have the flu, how would you manage it? I throw everything under the sun at it, personally. So I use, at the moment I'm using BPC 157, Thymosin 4 alpha, about 100 milligrams of chelated zinc, vitamin D at 8,000 units, a B complex. I rest for as long as possible. I keep myself warm. I don't do anything stressful. I avoid difficult situations. That's it in a nutshell. So it is supplemental. I think the quickest way to probably get rid of it would be to probably dry fast. But right now I'm looking at a bodybuilding competition in June, on June the 2nd. So for me, deliberately trying to cut back on my food intake is not a great idea at the moment. I've got to be quite on top of it with my recovery at the moment. I don't think dry fasting for me would be a great recovery tool, but for anyone else it'd be an excellent tool. But Ben, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I'll go back to the old wives' tale. Feed a cold, starve a fever. With flu, fast, water fast if you want to with electrolytes. Just rest and ride it out. Maybe vitamin C, maybe, like you say, zinc. But other than that, just take yourself to bed with a good book.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that really quickly. Just to add to that, fasting, I think, is probably the best protocol. When the body is susceptible to a pathogen, the body sequesters iron, so it pulls iron out of circulation because these pathogens thrive on iron. The problem with our lifestyle is everything we eat is high in iron. Fat, on the other hand, if you notice, if you were to test your cholesterol, you'll probably see a change in your cholesterol as the body's fighting a virus and infection off. So I'm all for fat, but it's difficult to get fat without protein in nature. So the best protocol for me, I always consume the electrolytes with water, but I think dry fasting is probably the best protocol. Fasting to some degree, if you are going to consume predominate fatty cuts, if you are going to get the fat from meat sources, and try to keep protein to a minimum. We need the protein, but again, protein comes with iron, and we want to keep iron low. So that will be my protocol.
And that's exactly what the body does. For people that wonder why you get high ferritin sometimes on this way of eating, ferritin locks up iron, and it's the body's defense. It's called an acute phase reactant. And bugs die because they can't get the iron. And I had this very question about 2 hours ago. And it comes up at least once a week because I do the phlebotomy side of things, that ferritin will go up. And I say, you've had an infection, but you're so fit now, your body's fought it, and you've not even had a day off work. Sorry, you haven't got an excuse. You have to go to work tomorrow. And that's pretty good, that what Rich just said. The question actually said, when you get the flu, what do you do? I don't get the flu. So I haven't had a visit to the doctor or a day off sick for about 10 years. And since I went low carb. So I think this way of eating gets you more robust. Doesn't mean you can't get sick, but I can't believe the difference, because I was a miserable specimen that every single year would be sniffling and snuffling, going to the GP in the winter to get antibiotics or some sort of remedy. And I think the best way to manage it is to not get it in the first place. Sorry to be really corny. So that's sort of like, make sure you can get some sunlight on your skin, even in the winter months. Eat properly, rest properly, don't have too much blue light. Here I am breaking that rule, obviously. And make yourself so robust.
You're not totally up to date on your flu jabs then, Stephen?
What? So you get flu, you mean? Right.
Yeah, I'd jump on that as well. It's when we become insulin resistant and I know that's a taboo topic in regards to how the body works, and insulin resistance doesn't really exist, but in the context as we understand it, when we suffer with insulin resistance, the body increases the amount of ACE2 receptors, or angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptors. These are the type of things that allow us to contract certain viruses. One big one in particular in recent years. So being sick from excess carbohydrate or glucose consumption increases the volume of these receptors, which increases our chance of contracting said virus in the first place. The other issue with this insulin resistance is it hinders our natural killer cells' ability to fight off that virus and infection. So just by the consumption of carbohydrate or excess carbohydrate and being in that state of insulin resistance, not only does it open the door to us being more susceptible to contracting an illness, but it prevents the body from fighting it off quickly, which is why when, and you guys can probably attest to this as well, when you do become ill with something, it doesn't last very long. I have bouts. I had a migraine recently, which was the first for a while, which came as a shock. And I was telling Steve recently that I went out after a park run for a breakfast with my brother and my wife and his missus. And the young lady put milk in my coffee. And I haven't drunk milk for years and years and years, but the cafe was busy. I was too polite to tell her that she'd put it in there and I didn't ask for it. So I drank it. And within 2 minutes, my vision started to go. So whether it's pure coincidence, but that's the only thing that I had changed that day. And I was ill for the rest of the day with the migraine, but going slightly off kilter there. But as you say, prevention is better than cure. Avoid carbohydrate, avoid this oxidative stress and electrophilic stress from the seed oils. Coming back to a point Phil said, that electrophilic stress, the xenophobic response from the seed oils is something that is alien to cells within the body. This is why the body tries to excrete it so readily. Stay away from the seed oils, the grains, and the carbohydrates, and you will be sick considerably less, and you will not need to fight off any flus. But if you do, I agree with you guys. Fast, dry fast, get fats in if you're going to eat, and try to avoid high quantity foods with iron for a few days at least.
Yeah, for a bit of context, Ben is very physically active. The gentleman that asked the question, extremely physically active. He has a very high carnivorous food intake. His diet intake is very, very good. His adherence is good. He has a very busy lifestyle. So some of these things don't really work out. He's probably doing about 30,000 steps a day. So the dry fasting might not be appropriate. But that's why I came across with the supplemental side first, just because I thought for him it'd be a bit more useful. The general public, I'd probably go more the other route that you guys recommended, of course. But yeah, good points all round, definitely.
Build muscle and lose fat on the carnivore diet.